All right, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the Self-Publishing 30 Days podcast. I am your host, Rob YB Youngblood, President of Sales for Self-Publishing 30 Days, and you are actually in the YB's Collaboration Corner. I have the pleasure of being able to introduce a young lady that I've had the pleasure of working with, Ashley Shuler. Ashley is a project management consultant, and so I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about her and her business. Ashley, good to have you on today.
Man, YB, this is just so awesome to always be able to speak with you. We have really the most dynamic conversations about growth, about collaboration, about really just being able to have impact and change in respective industries. And so what I do in a nutshell is my particular business, Shuler Strategies Group, also known as Ask Ash Consulting. What I do is I connect people, process, and outcomes. And so what that really means is that I help to consult with entrepreneurs, whether you're in the digital marketing space, real estate, whether you are in a business coach. And really what I do is I help to connect you with actually being able to execute on projects and tasks that you are looking to elevate and actually looking to output in your business. Okay. And so there's an internal focus where we're looking at processes, SOPs, we're looking at how your team functions. Mm-hmm. We're looking at you as a CEO and as a leader and where you can reclaim your time. And we're looking at ways that your team can feel empowered to do the work that they do. And I'm also here to enhance that client experience that we always hear about. Right. And so that is a lot of what I do, doing the consulting and also helping to set up done for you services. So I do things with project management tools, and I speak and train on all different types of areas of team collaboration and project management and execution.
Man, you got a whole lot going on. I'm telling you. So just to be able to, because we're most of the people that listen to us are either authors, they're aspiring authors, they're people that want to collaborate with authors. So tell me, what the work that you do, have you positioned yourself to work with authors? And if so, tell us about your experience.
Man, this is the funny part about working with authors is that, I have talked a lot to some of them just about how they can keep track of all of the things that go on with writing a book, producing a book, all of those elements to it. And there's so many pieces to it. And I think what is so good for people to also understand is that the actual aspect of project management, how it applies to every single industry. We think about it in terms of technology. We think about it in terms of, oh, that's for like construction or that's for like other industries. Right. The fact of the matter is that when you are putting together a process to produce a unique product, service, or result. And last time I checked, books, whether in whatever format they are, that fits that criteria. Yeah. And so what my goal is to also go into industries that may not have heard necessarily how they can apply it. Mm-hmm. But that you all can have this organized process. It's not cumbersome. It's not going to take you out of your zone of genius. Right. That really, we're really developing a kind of like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, some sort of beginning, a middle, and an end to your process. And so, I'm for sure always interested in speaking with authors on what the process is, what the timeline is, how they can involve, whether it's a contractor, graphic designer, your editor, your publisher, how you can actually centralize that communication and that work into a particular tool. So it's two parts, it's process, but then it's also using the power of technology so that you are not sifting through our email, which are, all of our inboxes. We go, they're probably a mess in some form or fashion. But what a great way to actually be using a tool, whether a tool like ClickUp, to be able to actually manage that work. And so that you can go and know what you need to do next. So I think it's good.
let's go back a little bit, and then I want to definitely touch on this ClickUp, because I've heard you talk about it. I've heard our Chief Book Officer Darren Palmer he talk about it. But let's talk about how did you even get started in this space, Ashley?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I mean, I've just had a really good knack and affinity just for organizing the people, the process, and what the outcome is. And so even if it's something as, small as, hey, Ashley, we're going to need to get some type of mail merge, and we need to set these particular data out that we're going to communicate to our stakeholders. All of that really came to what's required. How are we going to get this done? Am I missing something? What's the plan of action? And really, I would just go through and start building out lists of things. Really, it started with building out a list. Okay, this is the outcome. Okay, who's involved in it? Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's also what other resources do we need? Do we need to purchase something? And really begin to think about it in a strategic way.
Yeah.
Because the work itself, once you are able to get out all of the planning and all of those, that type of process, you're able to actually go through it pretty seamlessly. Wow. So that's where it started. It started when I was working in the nonprofit sector. I'm a government contractor. This one position that I'm telling you, it was pretty much like me going on like 80 miles per hour per day. It was such a great experience. But when I was in charge of an actual advisory council, so it was a project manager position, and it was for the U.S. Department of Commerce before the Economic Development and Administration. And so there is an entrepreneurship unit and team. So they're putting together a team of all these different great entrepreneurs from the healthcare sector, tech sector. And so they had a position open where they were looking for someone to manage this council, which is the work that they're doing. And we had certain objectives and goals. And so a lot of what PMs do, project managers do, it is relationship building.
Yeah.
It is talking to people. It is finding out what certain stakeholders need. And it's really about understanding how all the puzzle pieces get together. So yeah, a lot of this started, even back in the day when I was applying to college, and I would have the Excel spreadsheet because I was like, all right, I'm ready to apply. And mom wanted to know where. And so that's a lot of that organizational pieces would come. Absolutely.
That's good. That's good. And I like the fact that you talked about, that's something that you've been doing for quite some time. So that means you got some receipts, right?
Yes, I do.
Some receipts. So we're not just bringing anybody that just talk the talk. Ashley.
That's right.
Making some moves. So
that's right.
You mentioned a word, ClickUp. What exactly is ClickUp, and how can it be used for authors or aspiring authors?
Yes, absolutely. So for this particular tool, what you'll hear something called like task management or a project management tool. You may have heard of things like Todoist. You may have heard of apps like that help you to check off things like a check off list. And so what ClickUp is that it is a project management tool that helps you to manage everything in between, from your tasks that you have every day. It is a tool that helps you to collaborate with others. It is a tool that for authors in particular, you can be able to set it up in a way where you can literally list out what the chapter is, have a checklist for it. You can assign due dates. Your notifications can go to your phone.
Right.
You can be able to really actually sync up with Google Docs, if that's your preferred platform, or Microsoft Word, and begin to integrate tools that are going to help you centralize all of what you need to do to write your book.
That's good.
And so, yeah, in addition to, we know that you authors have to definitely promote. So there's definitely aspects of creating a content creation calendar, right, podcasting, right, producing that into a course. There are so many different ways where you are repurposing, but also taking out a lot of your different points within your book and being able to distribute it to a wide array of audiences. But I advocate, and I'm definitely a proponent of having a central location that you're working in.
Right.
And so it keeps you efficient. So when you're working with your particular editor, and if you have a virtual assistant, or if you're just yourself, you can keep all of the pieces organized so that you know what you're accountable for. And that's what's so great about it, is that it's another added layer of accountability.
Oh my goodness, you could tell, guys, that she's just knowledgeable. She knows what she's talking about. I definitely want to give you the opportunity to promote how people can connect with you, but I want to get into this whole concept of collaboration. Obviously, we have this podcast, and we're talking about collaboration, YB's Collaboration Corner. So what is your definition of collaboration, and how has collaboration helped you in your business?
Absolutely. So for me, collaboration is two or more individuals coming together, and they are looking to share their knowledge, share their expertise. That could take place offline. That could be peer masterminding. That could also be something where they are using these tools that are out here, live streaming tools, social media tools, putting on events together, that they're coming together and saying, I think together we both want to make an impact on X, and being able to actually take their particular voices, take their particular brain power and their expertise or superpowers, and actually go out and actually disseminate that information to empower someone to take that very next step. So for me, collaboration is one of those non-negotiables. I think it's important that entrepreneurs, leaders, business leaders, community leaders, everyone has a purpose, and they should be able to collaborate with one another. And so, yeah, I think it's super important.
That's good. That's good. So let's talk a little bit about in your relationships that you look to build, right? Who, if you had the opportunity to collaborate with people, who would you want to collaborate with? Like, is there a certain type of person? Is there specific industries? Like when you think about collaboration, who do you want to collaborate with? Who's on your list?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because, I've often thought about, what it would look like to take some artists and musicians and just being able to showcase more of their particular experience that they have, not just as, we're a singular, like DJ for instance. There was certainly I would say like a phase where I was like, oh man, where are all these, artists at that know that they make systems, or, those types of things that, and in which I could help out in, but also too chefs and culinary artists too, as well. Yeah. I think that particular industry is super fascinating. And being that we're in the posture that we're in right now, there's so many activities outside of the kitchen that are available. Yeah. And so I think that is also, a great way to collaborate and be able to, help even just with shaping how they would be able to execute on some of these initiatives. Yeah. I think it would be awesome to also be a part of some really cool startups, or even some companies, like I think the world of like the OWN network, I don't know where they could use me at, but like, but, definitely, being a part of people who are starting something new and innovative. I'm often fascinated by those that are like, I've come up with this idea, and so they are building from the ground up. So yeah.
I like that. So basically what I'm hearing is that, startups are good for you. Those who are in the music arena, producers or artists. And then lastly, those chefs, those folks that are in the culinary space are good people that you'd want to collaborate with. Is that correct?
Absolutely. And I think too, if we're really looking at it from this perspective, like, there's such a need that I'm seeing too in terms of agencies and certainly creative teams that are really looking to actually build and grow and scale. Okay. Right. And so there is a lot where in terms of getting inquiries about how should I approach X? Right. What's the best strategy for Y? And I like it because most that come to me in these conversations are saying, you know, I used to do it this way, and they've gotten to a certain level.
Right.
And that's happened to all of us. We've gotten to a certain point, we've researched it, we've done it. And so now it's like, let me go and ask someone who would have a different perspective, who's able to really bring efficiency to what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's a matter of bringing that innovation and bringing that efficiency, and also having people to understand, like, you know, this aspect of process and organization is the foundation for you to grow and scale.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and I was like, how, and what's the best way that I can partner with you to help you get to that very next level?
That's good. That's good. And so that actually leads to the next question. So we know who you want to collaborate with, but how do you operate if somebody wants to collaborate with you? Like, how do you determine if, let's say, somebody approaches you, how do you determine if they're going to be a good connection or a good collaboration for you? Like, what are the things that you consider when someone wants to collaborate with you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for me, I really am on, you know, what is it in terms of values, you know, that you believe in? Right. What is it in terms of vision that you are looking to do from this particular collaboration and partnership? Yeah. And, you know, and really, I want to always spend time with an individual, just getting to know folks, you know, starting off, whether we're doing Instagram Live, whether we're doing coffee chats, whether we're just, you know, staying in touch with one another. But I think for me, it's really understanding that you're here for service. Right. Now, of course, it's, you know, a lot of this is business. So, you know, we can know, and we can talk about how, you know, I'm getting to the bag. That's all good. You know, I'm all for that. But I also want to know, you know, in such the way that you talk and speak about your clients and the work that you do, you know, how do you look at your work? How do you look at your clients and your industry? You know, and I think all of that's important. Yeah. And so those are some of the things that I absolutely look at, and, you know, and where you're trying to grow to. So, yeah.
That's good. That's good. So I want to start landing the plane here. So I typically ask my guests some rapid fire questions, right? So who obviously we're a publishing company here, so everything we do surrounds us or surrounded by books. But when you think about your favorite book, right, of all time that you've read, what was that book and who is the author?
Oh man, a good book that I have read. Let's see. Which is really good, but I will go with, you know, because there's a few different ones in a couple different areas, that I really like, but I definitely will say one that I'm currently reading, which is called it's Pregnant Girl by Nicole Lewis, who's CEO and founder of Generation Hope. And so she's talking about her journey of motherhood. She's talking about her journey as a teen mom and how she went to college and raised her daughter. And then now she advocates, and she has this organization that supports teen parents. And so I'm in that book, and I am loving really just how she's telling the story, but how she's looping in current issues, how her perspective has changed as she's telling the journey of her story. I would say that earlier this year, I also read the memoir, memoir with Ambassador Susan Rice. And so that was really phenomenal, called Tough Love. Phenomenal story just about her particular journey, her childhood, and really how she was able to utilize different circumstances and situations she got into, how her love of policy, and just gave an inside look and perspective of how she navigated these tough situations and how she worked in the various White House administrations. And I was really blown away by that book. And I was really like, man, I was super, and that's, you know, probably, you know, definitely a power collaborator in some sort of fashion. Would love to be able to work with her in another capacity. But that was really a book that was like, man, this was smart. It was rich, such a good read.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So my next rapid fire question is, if you had the opportunity to write your best-selling book,
Mm.
Anywhere in the world, right? Let's say Darren Palmer was going to pay for it, right? Anywhere in the world,
Yeah.
where would you go to write your book? Like we've had some people, we had some people that say that they would go to places where the water's blue. Other people said Paris. Other folks said Italy. Where would you go to write your best-selling book?
Man, where would I go to write my best-selling book?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to go with being a self-published author. I think I'm going to have to go with doing it through that lens. I only want to say that because there's this great conversation, and as I'm learning about the power of ownership, and I think that there's something to that, being able to publish that book. Now, again, power of collaboration, right? Being able to bring it to, a big time publisher, I think definitely would definitely be in the mix, right? But I think for my first go around, I think I would definitely do self-publishing. And I would definitely I have always been a person of going to and seeing about the what do you would call maybe not the most popular book publishers, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I would always love to see what the collaboration on that end, you know what I'm saying? Because there's something about, I think, sometimes it's really the relationship building that you can do, with smaller companies. And then, of course, you do your second or third book, you can go to, a different publisher as well. But yeah, that's my answer.
Well,
yeah.
no, I guess what I'm saying is location. Like, if you had any place in the world, if you had any place in the world, like if you had any, like, so for example, somebody said that they would go to an island and write their book, and some people said they would go to Italy. Some people they would say they would go to France. Where on the planet, like what location on the planet would you go to write your best-selling book? Like if there was a location, if Darren was paying for it, for you to travel there and take as long as you wanted to write this book, where would you go? What part of the world would you go to?
Yeah, no, okay. No, that's a really good one. It's probably going to be maybe in somewhere maybe in Jamaica, maybe that would be like a really, or maybe in South Africa. Yeah, I probably would go those two locations.
Okay, good. Yeah, I like to ask people that question, especially if a person has yet to publish. They can go somewhere and go to their favorite spot and get inspired. I had somebody who said that they would go to the mountains. They go to a mountain home. And
wow,
and
that's pretty cool.
Focus on that there for a few months or whatever. So good to hear that you'd want to go there. So let's wrap up with you telling us and telling the folks that's watching and listening, how can people find you if they want to collaborate, if they want to learn more about the services and the resources that you offer? How can they find you?
Oh, absolutely. Well, you can find me in a couple different places. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me there. I'm Ashley Shuler on LinkedIn. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Ashley Shuler _. And then you can also find out more about my ClickUp VIP days and also some other services that I have as well on ashleyshuler.com. If you are in the field of a digital marketing agency, if you are in a tech startup, if you do healthcare consulting, if you are a creative that is really looking to supercharge your particular efficiency in your business, I would invite you to send me a message and connect with me so that we can really actually we're not even waiting until 2022. We're going to get you plugged in right now so that we can get you set up for success as Q4 approaches and as 2022 approaches. So that is where that you can connect with me. And then I also have a podcast as well, Conversations with Ask Ash, and that's on Apple podcasts and Google and Spotify as well. So that is where you can connect with me.
Well, that is awesome. Well, Ashley, it's definitely a pleasure. Welcome to the YB's Collaboration Corner. So glad that you were able to share some insights on collaboration, your business, who you help. And so we definitely wish you all of the best. And for those of you who are watching, definitely connect with Ashley if you find value in some of the things that she talked about, specifically through LinkedIn. Let her know that you heard about her through YB's Collaboration Corner on Self-Published in 30 Days podcast. I am proud to be your host, Rob YB Youngblood, your LinkedIn locksmith, your #1 connector, and the president of sales We love you. Be encouraged, be blessed, but most of all, continue to share your faith. And the way that you do that is by operating in your gift, because your gift will make room for you. We'll talk soon. Peace.